Alright, picture this. You're sorting through your spare change at home, just mindlessly counting pennies like we all do. Suddenly, you spot an old, slightly worn penny with a little D under the date 1964. You think, wonder if this is worth anything. Well, grab your magnifying glass and buckle up, because that penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Yeah, you heard right. $1.5 million. Today, we're diving into the rare and valuable 1964 D Lincoln penny, why it's such a big deal, and how you can turn your change into some serious cash. Alright, so here's the scoop on this 1964 D Lincoln cent. First off, that little D below the date stands for Denver, where this particular batch of coins was minted. Now, usually, a regular 1964 penny, even with a D mint mark, wouldn't get you much, maybe a cent or two, or just a little more if it's in pristine condition. But there's something unique about a few of these coins, and collectors are willing to pay a pretty penny, pun totally intended, for them. You see, in 1964, there was a bit of coin chaos going on. The US Mint was dealing with a coin shortage, and they minted millions and millions of pennies. But in the rush, a few special 1964 D pennies were made with a unique error, giving them characteristics collectors just go crazy over. The exact details on what makes this penny worth so much vary, but it's thought that the most valuable ones are coins with unusual errors, like double dies, or ones that were accidentally made with the wrong material. Now, let me share a quick story. A couple of years ago, I went through my old coin jar, just for fun. I had recently watched a documentary about valuable coins and thought, why not take a look? And wouldn't you know it, I found a 1964 penny with a D mint mark. For a brief moment, I thought I'd struck gold, or copper, in this case. I was about to quit my day job, plan my world tour, maybe buy an island. Then I found out it wasn't one of the ultra-rare ones. But hey, if I'd found the right one. That's instant millionaire status right there. And you, my friend, could be holding that jackpot penny without even knowing it. So, how do you know if you've got the big one? First, check the date and look for that little D under the year 1964. Then, grab a magnifying glass, because you'll want to look closely for any doubling, like on the numbers or letters, or any unusual texture. If you're not sure, don't worry. There are plenty of coin experts and online resources that can help you figure it out. Just don't polish it or mess with it too much. Collectors want these things as original as possible. In fact, the messier, the better. As for the big question, how much can you actually get for one of these rare pennies? Well, if you find one in truly great shape and with the right errors, it could fetch up to $1.5 million. Yes, that's more than some houses, cars, and college tuitions. People out there are literally spending fortunes for these tiny coins. Why? Because collectors are passionate, and the 1964 D is a true gem. It's like the holy grail for penny collectors. So, next time you're checking out your spare change or digging through an old coin jar, give those pennies a closer look. Who knows, you might just find a little D that could make you a millionaire. And if you do, don't forget who gave you the tip. Alright, if you're curious about more hidden gems in the coin world and how to spot coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and join our community. You never know when that small change could make a big change in your life. Imagine this, you're paying for your coffee, you pull out some change, and tucked away in that handful of pennies is $1 million coin. Yeah, you heard right. Today we're talking about a 1976 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that could be worth up to a staggering $1.4 million, but what's the story behind it, and how do you know if you've hit the jackpot? Grab your pennies because we're diving in. Alright, so let's get one thing straight, not every penny is going to make you a millionaire. But this one's a bit special. A regular penny usually has a little mark showing where it was minted. But a 1976 penny without any mint mark? That's rare. And it's that little missing mark that can turn it from, well, 1 cent to $1.4 million. So what's the story? In 1976, the U.S. Mint produced a whole bunch of pennies in Philadelphia, but they forgot one small detail on a limited few, the mint mark. That mark might not seem like a big deal, but collectors are all about these kinds of tiny differences. The rare 1976 no-mint mark pennies are the stuff of legends, and finding one would be like finding a needle in a haystack. But what if you're the one who finds it? Let me tell you a quick story. One day, I was emptying out this old coin jar. I mean, we've all got one, right? You throw in a few coins, then forget about it for years. So I was sifting through these dusty pennies, mostly just looking for a snack break. I wasn't expecting to find anything special, but I did find a penny that caught my eye. Not quite a 1976, unfortunately, but it taught me a valuable lesson. Every coin has a story and, sometimes, a price tag that'll knock your socks off. So what do you need to look for if you want to find this elusive penny? Well, first, check the year. You need it to say 1976. Second, make sure there's no mint mark. Normally, pennies made in Denver would have a little D, and in San Francisco a little S. If your penny is plain as day with just Abraham Lincoln staring back at you, jackpot. Or at least you've got a contender. Now, let's talk numbers. Recently, a penny like this sold at auction for around $1.4 million. Imagine, all from a coin that people usually toss aside. It's like winning the coin lottery. So, if you've got a bunch of pennies laying around, it might be time to give them a second look. Just maybe don't spend hours at the coffee shop counter scrutinizing each one. Trust me, I've done it. People give you weird looks. So, could the penny in your pocket be worth $1 million? You never know. Now that you know what to look for, go check your pennies. And who knows, you might just find a little fortune hiding in plain sight. Quick question. Have you ever checked your spare change and thought, it's just pennies? Well, hold up. Because if you've got a 1980 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, it could be worth a whopping $1.3 million. Yep, you heard that right, a single penny could make you a millionaire. Crazy, right? So today, we're diving into what makes this unassuming 1980 Lincoln cent so valuable. I'll break down what to look for, why it's rare, and maybe even share a little story about my own coin hunting adventure. Let's dig into your piggy bank treasure hunt together. Alright, first things first. Why would anyone pay that much for a penny? Here's the thing, a 1980 Lincoln cent without a mint mark is exceptionally rare. Usually, coins from that year should have a small D for Denver or S for San Francisco. If there's no mark at all, it could mean you're holding a Philadelphia mint coin, one of a very limited number that somehow slipped through quality control. Now, I know what you're thinking, does this no mint mark stuff really matter that much? Well, in the world of coin collecting, it definitely does. Collectors go wild for unusual mint errors like this. The whole scarcity aspect drives prices up, way, way up. Imagine finding that penny just lying around. It's like finding a diamond in a bowl of cereal. Seriously, these coins don't come along every day, and that's why they're worth so much. Now, I know you're itching to know, why $1.3 million? Isn't that kind of absurd? Well, yes, but in the world of rare coin collecting, rarity equals value. And a rare coin from the 1980s that's also a quality piece, think no scratches, no discoloration, no pocket lint, is like a golden ticket. That I've heard about a guy who found one of these rare coins while clearing out his dad's old coin jar. He didn't even realize what he had until he took it to an appraiser, and bam, he was looking at over $1 million for this one little penny. Imagine being that guy. You'd be telling that story at every holiday dinner. Let's say you've got your 1980 penny in hand. Here's what you should look for. First, flip it over and check the mint mark area. If you see a D or S, you're looking at a Denver or San Francisco penny. But if there's no mint mark at all, you might just have a winner. Next, check the coin's condition. The value skyrockets if the coin is in uncirculated condition, meaning it's still looking crisp and fresh with no signs of wear. Trust me, even tiny scratches can make a huge difference. If you've got a shiny, clean-looking 1980 no-mint mark penny, you're on to something. Quick story: I once spent a weekend combing through all my loose change. After hearing about these valuable coins, I figured, why not? It was like a treasure hunt. I even got my family in on it. Spoiler alert, I didn't find $1 million penny. But we did find an old wheat penny, which was still pretty cool. And honestly, it's fun because who knows what could be hiding in those coins. If I ever do find that rare penny, you'll definitely hear about it. Alright, so now you know what to look for in a 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny and why it's worth a crazy amount. If you find one of these in your change, you could be set for life. So take a look. You never know what you might have hiding in plain sight, and if you're interested in learning more tips on how to find valuable coins or how to cash in on your old pennies, make sure to subscribe. I've got tons more coin secrets and money-making strategies coming your way. Who knows? Your next big payday could be in your pocket right now. We're talking about a specific penny that might blow your mind. This little coin is a 1982 D mint mark Lincoln penny, and guess what? One of these bad boys sold for over $1.2 million. Yes, I said million, so get ready to dive into the story of this tiny piece of copper and see if you might be holding one worth a small fortune. Alright, first off, why is the 1982 D penny even valuable? Let me break it down for you. In 1982, the US Mint decided to switch from copper pennies to a lighter, cheaper zinc version because copper was getting pricey. So that year, they made pennies in both copper and zinc. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. Somewhere along the line, a few copper pennies slipped through the cracks. So now, we've got copper 1982 D pennies that are technically rare, and rare coins mean dollar signs. So, how can you tell if you have one? First, find yourself a 1982 D penny. Got one? Great, now, we need to see if it's copper or zinc. Grab a small scale. If it weighs around 3.11 grams, you might have a copper penny worth a pretty penny. If it's lighter, about 2.5 grams, it's just zinc. Sorry, but that one won't fund your next vacation. Quick personal story: I was actually convinced I had one of these copper pennies myself. I found a 1982 D in my dad's old collection and thought, here we go, I'm rich. Well, turns out, it was zinc. All that excitement, and I ended up with a regular OL penny. So don't get too attached just yet. Now, you're probably thinking, why would anyone pay $1 million for a penny? It's all about rarity, my friends. The fewer there are, the more collectors want it. It's like supply and demand, but with pennies. And since only a tiny number of these 1982 D copper pennies exist, the price has skyrocketed. So what's the current market value? Right now, the top condition 1982 D copper penny is valued at around $1.2 million. That's like winning the lottery, but with pocket change. This is why you'll want to check every 1982 D penny you come across. Who knows, maybe one of them could pay off your student loans. Now, what should you do if you think you have one of these? First, have it checked by a professional coin grader. Don't just throw it up on eBay hoping someone will fork over $1 million. You want this thing authenticated. A reputable grading service will confirm if you've got the real deal, and they'll give it a grade that can make it even more valuable. Alright, so what did we learn today? Those spare pennies lying around might actually be worth more than just a coffee. And who knows, maybe you'll be the lucky owner of $1 million penny. Right? But what if I told you that an ordinary-looking 2006 Lincoln cent with a little D mint mark could actually make you a millionaire? Yep, that little penny hiding under your couch cushions or stuck in your car console could hold the key to an enormous payday. Today, we're diving into the story of this magical 2006 D penny, how it's become so valuable, and what you need to look for to see if you're sitting on a gold mine, or in this case, a copper mine. Alright, first, let's get into some background. You're probably wondering what makes the 2006 D Lincoln cent so special. At first glance, it looks like any other penny. It's got old Abe Lincoln staring off into the distance, and it's mostly copper-plated zinc, not even the fully copper ones from back in the day. So why is this one potentially worth over $1 million? Well, the answer lies in the mysterious world of coin errors. Sometimes, when coins are minted, a few hiccups happen along the way, and these hiccups can create unique, one-of-a-kind coins that collectors will pay a fortune for. In the case of the 2006 penny, there's one particular error that has collectors going absolutely nuts. We're talking about the double die error. This happens when a coin gets struck twice by the die that stamps the design, leaving a noticeable shadow or doubling effect. And it's not subtle. If you look closely, you can see doubling in certain details, especially in Lincoln's profile and sometimes in the lettering. Let me tell you a little story. A friend of mine, let's call him Joe, is an avid collector. One day, he heard rumors about this 2006 penny and was curious, so he decided to go through his piggy bank. He had this old jar full of pennies he'd been collecting since his college days. He spent hours going through each one, probably got a neck cramp hunched over his kitchen table, and I thought he was losing it. But guess what? Joe actually found a penny with a tiny, barely there doubling error. Now, his wasn't worth the full million, but it was still valued at a few $100s. And for a penny he found lying around in an old jar. Not too shabby, right? So, what should you look for? First, grab a magnifying glass, or, if you're fancy, a jeweler's loupe, because these errors are tiny and hard to spot with the naked eye. Look closely at Lincoln's face, the "In God We Trust" text, and the date. If you notice a slight doubling in those areas, congratulations. You might have something valuable on your hands. It won't always be worth millions. Some of these coins go for a couple of $100s, while others can fetch a few thousand. But in rare cases, a perfect condition 2006 penny with a very pronounced double die error has been known to sell for, wait for it, over $1 million. Now, why would anyone pay that kind of money for a penny? That's where collectors come in. The coin collecting world is wild. Collectors are willing to pay premium prices for coins with unique features, especially those with rare errors. A pristine, uncirculated 2006 penny with that classic double die error is like the holy grail of modern pennies. Only a handful have been discovered, and with so many pennies minted every year, that scarcity drives up the price like crazy. So there you have it, the 2006 Lincoln penny isn't just a pocket change, it could be a life-changing coin if you're lucky enough to find one with that special double die error. Next time you get a penny in your change, don't just toss it in a jar. Take a closer look because, who knows, you could be sitting on your very own $1 million penny. Thanks for tuning in, coin fans. If you love learning about hidden treasures in everyday change, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got more videos coming up on all the coins that could make you some serious cash, plus tips on what to look for next time you're sorting through pocket change. Keep your eyes peeled, and who knows? You might just strike gold, or in this case, copper.